So, in today's video, we will be looking at how to attempt Pythagoras' Theorem question for GCSE Maths. Before we look at our first question, let's remind ourselves of what Pythagoras' Theorem is. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So, if we had a triangle with a right angle in it, we could label that as A, B, and C, where C is the side directly opposite the right angle. So let's say A is 3 centimeters, B is 4 centimeters, and C is 5 centimeters. 3 squared is 9, plus 4 squared, which is 16, is equal to 5 squared, which is 25. We know that this is true. However, if A was 1, B was 2, and C was 3, we'd have 1 squared, which is 1, plus 2 squared, which is 4, equals C squared, 3 squared, which is equal to 9. But that is not true. So we can't have 1, 2, and 3. That would be an impossible triangle. Which means that there are only certain sets of numbers which fulfill this theorem. So let's look at our first question now. First, let's label each of these sides A, B, and C. The hypotenuse, which you may know, is just another word for this, the side that's opposite the right angle, C. So, let's write out our theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is 6.5 plus b, which is 7.8 squared equals c squared. Therefore, if we square root both sides of this equation, we would get c is equal to the square root of 6.5 squared plus 7.8 squared. And then, if we put this into our calculators, we get an answer of 6.5 squared plus 7.8 squared, which is equal to 10.15. So we can write that C is equal to 10.15 centimeters. Now let's look at question 2. Andrew walks 1.8 miles east and then 2.4 miles north. He then walks straight back to his starting point. How far does he walk in total? Let's start by drawing this out as a triangle. If we go 1.8 miles east, we have that, 1.8 miles. Then 2.4 miles north, 2.4 miles. And then he walks directly back to his starting point. And we need to work out this length in order to work out the total length. If we label our triangle again, we'd get A, B, and C, since C is always the hypotenuse. So A squared, which is 1.8 squared, plus B squared, 2.4 squared, equals C squared. Square root the whole equation, and then we get C is equal to the square root of 1.8 squared plus 2.4 squared. Pop that into our calculators, and we get 3. So C is equal to 3 miles. But remember, the question asks for the total distance that he travels. So we need to add 3 plus 1.8 plus 2.4. This is equal to 7.2. So in total, he walked 7.2 miles. Now on to question 3. Calculate the perimeter of an isosceles triangle with a base length of 11 centimeters and a height of 6 centimeters. As per usual, when we don't have a triangle given, it's always best to sketch it out. So here's our base length, 11 centimeters, and let's say our height is 6 centimeters. And these two sides are equal in length. However, we don't know how long either of these sides are. So we can't use Pythagoras Theorem. And we don't know if this is a right angle, and we don't know if these are right angles. So what do we do here? Well, we know that the height of the triangle is 6 centimeters. So let's split it into two, as it's an isosceles triangle. Now, this side of the triangle is the exact same as this side of the triangle. And now, since we drew a straight line perpendicular to our baseline, we know that these two angles are right angles. So if this line is 6 centimeters and this line is 11, for each triangle this would be 5.5 centimeters, as the line goes directly down the middle. And then let's label our sides A, B, C. So A squared, 5.5 squared, plus B squared is equal to C squared, which means that C is equal to the square root of 5.5 squared plus 6 squared, which is equal to 8.14 centimeters, which means that the length of the triangle here, the side of the triangle here, is 8.14 centimeters, and here it is also 8.14 centimeters. Both sides are equal due to it being an isosceles triangle. Then finally we can add these numbers together. So we get 8.14 plus 8.14 plus 11 is equal to 27.28 centimeters. So that's our final answer. Now on to question 4. A ladder of length 6 meters leans against the wall. The top of the ladder touches the wall 5.3 meters above the ground. How far away from the wall is the base of the ladder? So first we can draw on our wall and the floor. And we know that the wall and the floor will make a 90-degree angle. And then we can draw on our ladder. This ladder has a length of 6 meters and it touches the wall. So this distance is 5.3 meters, which means that this is the distance that we need to find. Let's label our triangle. So this length is A, this length is B, and this length is C. Now we have a slightly different equation. A squared plus 5.3 squared is equal to 6 squared. As you notice, this time we don't know the value of A, and we do know the value of C. What we need to do is subtract both sides by B squared to give us A squared is equal to 6 squared minus 5.3 squared. And then square rooting the whole equation gives us A is equal to the square root of 6 squared minus 5.3 squared. And then, if you put that into your calculator, you'd get 2.81 meters. So that's your value for A, the length of the distance between the wall and the base of the ladder. Finally, let's look at question 5. Work out the length of the unknown side to 3 significant figures. As you can see, this is the unknown side. So if we have a right angle here, and this is our hypotenuse C, and this is our other side B, this is A. So again, we have A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, where we don't know the value of A. So we can rearrange this to A squared is equal to 13 squared minus 11 squared, which means A is equal to the square root of 13 squared minus 11 squared. Into our calculator, this gives us 6.928 centimeters. But the question asks for it to 3 significant figures, so we give 6.93 centimeters. Finally, here's a question for you to try yourself at home. Pause the video and attempt the question, and leave what you think is the answer down below in the comments, and I'll tell you if you're right. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please drop a like and leave a subscribe.